Something extraordinary has happened, and you won't believe it. The European Space Agency has quietly released the first ever images of the interstellar object known as 3I Atlas, and what they show has astronomers stunned. For weeks, NASA's usual feeds have gone dark. No images, no updates, no commentary, just silence. Meanwhile, in that silence, ESA telescopes captured something no one expected. A strange, shifting object that doesn't behave like a comet, doesn't move like one, and yet, it's glowing. Back in early 2025, telescopes across the world picked up a faint streak racing toward Mars. At first, it seemed ordinary, another long-period comet making a routine pass through the solar system, but the numbers didn't add up. Its speed, its trajectory, its chemical signature. It wasn't bound to the sun at all. It was coming from outside the solar system. This was the first known interstellar visitor ever detected. After Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019, astronomers called it 3I Atlas, the third interstellar object ever confirmed. But this one is different. Unlike Oumuamua, which slingshotted past without a trace, or Borisov, which behaved like a dusty natural comet, 3I Atlas seemed almost alive. Its brightness flickered rhythmically, its tail expanded, then disappeared, then came back. It was changing in ways that defied every standard comet model we have. By August 2025, 3I Atlas was closing in on Mars. ESA's Mars Express and ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter turned their instruments toward it. For a brief window, less than 2 weeks, the object was visible above the Martian horizon, and that's when the data started pouring in. Spectral readings showed high levels of metallic sodium, something we've never seen in an interstellar object before. Its coma, instead of being a diffuse cloud of ice and gas, showed structured filaments, thin, glowing arcs like woven strands of plasma. And even more bizarre, its rotation wasn't random. It was stable, too stable. Comets tumble, they spin chaotically, they break apart. But 3I Atlas rotated like a perfectly balanced gyroscope, one revolution every 4.2 hours, steady to the decimal. That kind of precision, it doesn't happen by accident. Usually, this is where NASA jumps in, with the big press release, the public Q&A, the James Webb imagery, but this time, they all stayed silent. The NASA Near-Earth Objects Program, which routinely posts updates about objects like this, has gone quiet since early September. Even Hubble, which was scheduled to track 3I Atlas from Earth orbit, suddenly went offline for instrument calibration. No photos, no updates, no statements. And then ESA, out of nowhere, dropped their images, and jaws dropped. 4 deep field captures taken between October 8th and 12th by the Solar Orbiter Heliospheric Imager and the VLT in Chile. At first glance, the images look ordinary, a faint dot against a dark backdrop, but when enhanced and processed, something strange becomes visible. In the enhanced frames, 3I Atlas isn't a dot, it's elongated, roughly cylindrical, about 200 meters long and 40 meters wide, surrounded by a faint halo of ionized particles forming a structured spiral. And in the fourth image, taken just as it passed Mars, the object appeared to emit a short burst of light, a flash that lasted exactly 1.8 seconds. Not reflected sunlight, but a pulse, emitted light. Astronomers at ESA's ESA Center near Madrid analyzed the signal. The wavelength, around 530 nanometers, bright green, right in the visible spectrum. That's not a natural emission line for sodium, carbon, or any volatile typically found in comets. It's something else entirely. And then comes the kicker. The pulse repeated exactly 26 hours later. Patterns in space are dangerous things, easy to imagine, hard to prove. But ESA's team noticed that the light bursts aligned precisely with 3I Atlas's rotation period. Every full rotation, a brief flash, like a beacon. Now, before you jump to conclusions, scientists aren't calling it artificial. Not yet. But the data suggests controlled or periodic emission, something unseen in any comet, asteroid, or interstellar body so far. To double-check, the European Southern Observatory joined in. Their optical readings matched ESA's data point for point. The flashes were real. Meanwhile, back on Earth, astronomers began connecting dots. 3i Atlas's chemical signature, its stability, its repeating pulse, all strangely similar to something recorded years ago from Oumuamua. That same odd acceleration, that same lack of a visible outgassing trail, and now a pulse. For all those watching NASA's Deep Space Network, something else weird started happening. Several of the Goldstone antennas that were supposed to track 3i Atlas's trajectory switched to classified use in late September. DSN logs show multiple data blackout periods coinciding exactly with ESA's observation windows. Even amateur astronomers noticed that NASA's Horizons database suddenly removed the live 3i Atlas ephemeris page. It just vanished, replaced by a data under review notice. It's not the first time that's happened. When Oumuamua passed through, a similar blackout occurred during its closest approach, but the timing this time feels deliberate. ESA's latest analysis hints at something else entirely. 3i Atlas may not be a whole object, but a fragment. Spectral mapping from the VLT shows that its composition is oddly uniform, lacking the variety typical of natural bodies, and its surface reflectivity is unusually high, 0.48 albedo, brighter than most asteroids. In other words, it's smooth, metallic. If true, that would mean it's not a typical icy body, but something denser, like a chunk of engineered material or crystallized alloy. ESA scientists have floated cautious theories. Perhaps it's a fragment from a tidally disrupted planetesimal torn apart by a dying star, or perhaps something built it. When the flash pattern repeated a third time, ESA's data team decided to analyze it for structure. Using Fourier decomposition, they broke the pulse into frequency components and found modulation, a pattern within the light curve. At first, it looked random, but when plotted logarithmically, it formed prime intervals, evenly spaced brightness peaks corresponding to prime numbers between 2 and 9. That doesn't happen in nature. Prime number sequences are the universal mathematical signature, something used in countless hypothetical SETI broadcasts because they're non-random and unmistakably artificial. Still, ESA scientists remain cautious. It could be a coincidental artifact of rotation, a trick of geometry and reflectivity. But the fact that NASA went dark right as this was discovered, that is hard to ignore. As of mid-October 2025, 3i Atlas is moving rapidly toward its perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, expected around October 30th. ESA, JAXA, and the South African Large Telescope are coordinating to monitor the passage. If the object behaves like a comet, we should see heating, sublimation, and a visible increase in brightness. If it doesn't, well, we'll know something's truly different. So far, it's defying all expectations. Its trajectory remains unchanged by solar pressure, unlike dust or ice. It's almost as if the object is actively correcting its path. And when you look closely at ESA's final frame, you can see something extraordinary. Just before the pulse, a faint ionized tail extends backward, but perfectly straight, not curved by solar wind, almost like thrust. NASA's official explanation for their silence is data verification, but insiders hint at deeper reasons. Multiple engineers at JPL have reportedly been reassigned from public outreach to private data review. Even the James Webb team, which had originally scheduled an October 10th observation, postponed it indefinitely. Some suspect that 3i Atlas emitted a radio burst, faint but structured, that was detected by the Deep Space Network. If so, that would explain the sudden lockout of data. ESA's press release makes no mention of radio detection, but it does note anomalous electromagnetic behavior correlated with optical flashes. In simple words, something about 3i Atlas is interacting with electromagnetic fields, deliberately or otherwise. By late October, as it nears the Sun, 3i Atlas will be at its brightest. If it's natural, we'll see it flare and fragment like any comet. If it's not, we might see it survive the Sun's heat and continue on its course, undisturbed, unwavering. ESA is preparing to capture high-resolution imagery during this critical window. NASA's silence, however, leaves a noticeable gap. And the world's astronomers are watching closely, some hoping for answers, others bracing for more questions. Because 3i Atlas isn't just another comet, it's a messenger from beyond the stars. And right now, it's whispering something we can't yet translate. When Oumuamua passed by, it left us puzzled but curious. When Borisov came, we finally confirmed interstellar comets exist. But 3i Atlas is rewriting the rulebook. It's steady when it shouldn't be. It pulses when it shouldn't. It emits light that doesn't fit known chemistry. And now, for the first time, we have direct visual proof courtesy of ESA, while NASA looks away. Is it a mere coincidence or coordination? No one knows. What's certain is that something unprecedented is unfolding right now, just beyond Mars's orbit. Something humanity has never seen before. Maybe it's normal, maybe it's not. But one thing is clear. We're no longer just observers of the cosmos, we're participants in whatever story it's trying to tell. And as ESA's telescope keep their eyes fixed on that tiny point of light, the rest of us wait for the next flash. Because somewhere out there, 3i Atlas is still pulsing, still spinning, still sending something. And until NASA speaks, ESA's images remain our only window into a mystery that's just beginning. If this story blew your mind as much as it did ours, don't let it vanish into the void. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and stay tuned, because this isn't the end of the 3i Atlas mystery. New data from ESA, JWST, and ground observatories are coming in every week. And when the next strange signal or image drops, you'll want to be here to see it first. Until then, keep your eyes on the sky, because the universe always has another surprise waiting.